released. So, India is praising President Trump. India appreciates the efforts that have been put in by President Trump. And as I said, that this could definitely be helping both countries to reset ties as well.
All right. Thank you, Siddhant, for your input. Now it's a wrap from my end, but please stay tuned to watch The Breakfast Club by Kritsween.
Hi there, good morning. Thanks for tuning into The Breakfast Club. I'm Kritsween Valia. Well, today is going to be an interesting conversation, not just about the Festival of Lights. We're going to continue getting you several ground reports. But first up, we're going to be diving deep, quite literally, into the world of microplastics. These tiny plastic particles have silently invaded our water, our food chain, and yes, even our bodies. So what does that mean for your health? From water bodies to bloodstreams, this is a conversation you don't want to miss on The Breakfast Club this morning. And then later we turn to a question that's lighting up timelines and temples across the country, and perhaps your offices too. When should Diwali be really celebrated this year? Should it be the 20th? Should it be the 21st? We'll have a special guest decode that story, give you the exact date and the auspicious time you should go ahead with the Lakshmi Puja. And we will continue with the Diwali fever. It's on in full swing across the country, from festive shopping to soaring auto sales. The mood is upbeat, so we will be getting you a ground report from Mumbai on the season's economic boost in just a bit. But first, what if that bottle you carry to your gym for your workout every day slowly becoming a part of your body? No, not metaphorically, literally. Microplastics is what we're going to talk about. These are tiny fragments invisible to the naked eye, have now been found in human blood, lungs, liver, even your brain. And in most cases, the source is right in our hands, which is plastic bottles, containers, and packaging. What we store in, what we eat from, what we drink out of. For years, we were told this was an environmental issue, but it's not just about oceans and landfills anymore, isn't it? This is about us, this is about our bodies, our brain health, and the science is only just catching up. So let's go across to our guest joining us this morning. First up, I do want to go across to the voice who's going to be talking about the other aspect to this story, which is what comes with plastics, what does it do to the environment, and what must be done in order to ensure that this doesn't become a public health issue. So with us is Arun Krishnamurthy, founder of the Environmentalist Foundation of India. Good morning, Arun. Hope you're doing well. Thank you for taking out the time. Arun, first up, to the broader aspect that we're trying to highlight here. We will talk in just a bit to another guest who's going to be joining in shortly about what this means for our body, what kind of plastic is found as per science and research in our body over a few years of this kind of consumption, or how it enters our body given we're using plastic water bottles still, there are food storage packages, all of that. But first up, I want to understand the broader story, the broader aspect of public health, and whether the plastic we find in our immediate surroundings can bring in that kind of negative impact to public health overall. What are your thoughts there?
Whether it's an immediate public threat, like it's going to be catastrophic, there's not much research to back that up. But should we be worried? 100% yes. Simple reason being, any simple natural ingredient, when it's an overdose, that by itself has an impact on the body. The body reacts to it. Too much of anything is not good. Just imagine, plastic is not a natural digestible source. Plastic is not a natural energy source for the human body. Plastic is not a nutrition source for the human body. So over a period of time, if little by little, on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, if we are going to consume plastic, and unknowingly consume plastic and put it into our body system, it is definitely going to have an impact. And we may wake up to a reality which is much harsher in the future. Take into consideration our immune system. When the body is set to fight conditions which it's only tuned to, natural systems. We are forcefully introducing a foreign subject to it, which is not a nutrition source, as I mentioned, which is not an energy source. And how is the body going to adapt to it? From our reproduction, from every aspect of human life, carcinogenic elements targeting individual body parts from liver, lung to much more, or even a mother who's directly feeding a child, passing on microplastics through milk. All of this is something which is now being researched upon, which we are finding traces into, and it should be a cause of concern. From child intellectual development to human senior citizens and their adaptability to medication, everything is being questioned.
Okay, Arun, now I want to talk about a cause that you've been deeply associated with the last so many years, and part of that mission is also cleaning water bodies in and around, right? So you've been doing it in ways more than one. Would you want to correlate the two? So for instance, plastic finding its way into our water bodies, does it also
100%.
enter our bodies eventually through that
100% yes.
mechanism?
100% yes. See, take into consideration a freshwater lake system, which is receiving its water not just through filtered channels. It is receiving water, rainfall, which is happening all over. And then this rainwater gushing through the streets, gushing through the farm, fields. It's actually taking with it a lot of plastic than we can imagine, right? And all this goes and sets as residue. This plastic breaks into finer particles, and these finer particles go into microparticles, which are then being fed by the fish and more. We feed on that fish, or even the water, for example, is something which we draw from these lakes and ponds for drinking purposes. And I don't think we have filtration systems which can remove microplastics and then supply us with only clean water as nature intended. And very simple, water by itself has a lot of minerals in it. These minerals are necessary for the human body. Way too much filtration and treatment of this water not just removes the microplastic, it also removes those minerals, making that water source redundant of all its energy and nutrition facts. So microplastic is a problem for which a solution that we assume may not even be practical, realistic. That is why we have to be extremely cautious. Before there is a catastrophic health situation in a large country such as India, we have to wake up and consider this. From the Yamunotri glacier to Rameshwaram to every corner of this country, our villages today, whether it's outside of Mohali in Chunnikala or here down south in Tamil Nadu, somewhere near Shivagasi, even rural pockets are dominated only with plastic trash lining on both sides of the road as you enter villages. That is to the extent which plastic has infiltrated our lives, from crop to water and more.
Yeah, I was getting to that. In fact, doesn't that story replay itself then from how it enters our body, how it enters water bodies, and then finally into our systems, and how it finds its way to the soil where our crops are grown typically. So when our crops also carry microplastics, what happens to our gut, what happens to our system, and how dangerous is it really for public safety, public health and nutrition overall?
I'm no health expert, but as you were rightly mentioning, we work on the field and we visibly see this, right? When we visibly see this, it's not rocket science. It's very simple fear from within. If I took you to one of our sites where you're witnessing pesticides, fertilizers being as it is used on the crop. In addition to that, the crop has a plastic lining pond from which water is being drawn. Temperatures soared to 34, 35, 38 degrees Celsius. Isn't it logical human thinking that the plastic, the heat and the water are interacting? And this water is then fed to the crop. Add to that, as I mentioned, the pesticides, fertilizers. Then you are packing it. The packaging is interacting with this material, right? Rice, salt, sugar, to every aspect of, or cut meat, even cut vegetables. All of this is interacting with that plastic. And this is stored somewhere. Goes through temperature variations from air-conditioned storage to trucks to much more. And then we are keeping it in our refrigerator. Then we are using oils to cook this. Further, we are eating it. Where is the nutritional value left in this food anymore? And also the bigger fear, all this interaction, what kind of research do we have to justify that this plastic is not leaving residues in it? This is where maybe as individuals we should wake up and not wait for the governments and the scientific community to come tell us 20 years down the line, oh, for the last 30, 40 years you've been doing this, that's exactly why you have cancer in this part of the body. This is not to paint an apocalyptic picture. It's very simply to infuse this thought in fellow human beings that be mindful of what we're consuming or what we're using. We are in an era of
small
plastic.
Little choices could take you a long way. Could really
100% yes.
prevent plastic from entering your body. So why not make those wise decisions? Arun, one last question before we let you go this morning. On the positive story here, have you seen innovation the last decade or so, the last few years, since you're so closely associated with this entire cause, innovation, startups that are actually looking at dealing with microplastics and the pollution that comes with it?
You rightly started the show by stating that although there is research that is underway about microplastic, it's not reached to the point where we have foolproof information. And same goes for the solution-based. When the problem by itself is not fully understood, the solution, there are definitely a lot of goodwill thoughts and a lot of ideas that are coming out. But have we reached a point where we already have a solution to a problem that we don't understand fully? No. And it is a bright morning. Everybody's going to have a wonderful day. Just for that sake, I don't want to paint a rosy picture hypocritically. Microplastic is a problem for which we don't even understand the scale and scope of the problem. Solution for it cannot be an eye wash. It has to be social change from deep within, from every individual.
Thank you so much, Arun, for that wonderful thought you're leaving us with this morning. Thank you for joining us with that beautiful takeaway. I do want to now go across to our second expert. Joining us on the broadcast is Kumar Bagrodia, a behavioral health researcher, founder of NeuroLeap. He's been closely tracking how plastic exposure could be interfering with our brain function, with our organs in general, even if we don't yet fully understand the damage. Good morning, Kumar. Hope you're doing well. Kumar, the conversation began because you have been so upfront about what microplastics, this fragment of plastic that you can't even see through a naked eye, does to your body, how this conversation needs to be more frequently had on platforms like the Breakfast Club. So let's start with that. Tell us, why are we talking about this story today and what kind of harm do microplastics do to our body?
Yeah, Kritsween, thank you first of all for highlighting this issue on your show. When we see plastic on our streets, in our rivers, on our beaches, we see a tangible problem. Unfortunately, as you rightly said, we are unaware of how much plastic we are ingesting. And there's a lot of research now globally, and allow me to share a few points. When they did autopsies on human brains, they actually found about 0.5% of an average human cadaver, 0.5% of the brain was made up of plastic now. In a full-blown dementia case, 2.5% of the human brain volume was filled with plastic. 2.5%. Let that sink into everyone. Here we are bothered about, are we having organic fruits and vegetables? How much sugar are we consuming? Are we having enough protein versus carbs? What about some of the basic simple things about ensuring that we don't take in unnecessary amount of plastic orally, right? We cannot immediately start, getting our water bodies plastic free. That requires government regulation, that requires huge investments. But ingesting plastic from water bottles, from plastic food containers, those are easily avoidable. The second and most concerning part, which we found, that in your arteries, when you have plaque, arterial plaque, almost 21 milligrams per gram of plaque is now made up of plastic. So it's finding its way into your heart, into your brain. It's becoming part of your brain tissue. On an average, globally, there's research now that there is perhaps about 8 milligrams of plastic in your blood circulation at any given point in time. That is the amount of plastic we are ingesting through water bottles and through plastic containers.
So
A
the
larger
choice,
issue which
yeah.
sorry.
No, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. A larger issue, what I have found is that people continue to use plastic water bottles when they are exercising. So, in the last 2 decades, the amount of runners, marathoners, gym goers who will be gladly using a reusable plastic water bottle, because the assumption is that it's only the single use plastic bottle which is leaching out chemicals and microplastics. That is true, but even the reusable ones are leaching out chemicals and plastics. The problem that happens is when you're exercising, the gut becomes more permeable during exercise and just after exercise, which means these microplastics and nanoplastic particles can actually move through the gut to your blood, and there's higher absorption across every organ of your body. So you're actually harming yourself just with some of these ridiculously small things which can be avoided.
So it all comes down to whether or not you want to wait a couple of years, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years of your life before some problem comes your way and finally you figure out that, oh, it was plastics all throughout that were at the heart of this problem and this could have fully been avoided. That choice one can make today, and that's why we're having this conversation. Kumar, the other interesting thing you spoke of is how people don't realize these small little choices, wrong choices being made on an everyday basis, and simply out of convenience, for instance. So thinking that you're going to have to pick the heavier bottle, a steel bottle, copper bottle comes with an additional weight, so let's go for a plastic bottle instead. The dangers that come with it have gone unnoticed, is why we need to talk and bring this discussion to the mainstream. What do you think can be done to spread more awareness as a nation? How do we go about this? Because for the longest time, we've spoken of environmental concerns that come with plastic.
Sure.
Not so much about what it does to your body. Why?
Great question, Kritsween. See, the problem is when we realize that plastic is not good for environment, well, we are nature as well. We're biological bodies. We don't have the ability to process plastic. Yes, a large amount of plastic that we consume orally finds its way out through fecal matter, but there is always enough which is still being stored in our organs. In addition to microplastics, let's not forget the chemicals within most of these plastic containers and bottles. So BPA, BPS, BPF exposures, they are now proven to be leaching into the water, leaching into the food. And it's not a particle, it is actually just chemicals which are causing endocrinal issues, neurodevelopmental issues. Two populations which I believe are at very high risk. One is pregnant and lactating mothers. We have found plastics in cord blood, in placenta tissue, showing that there is direct fetal exposure. Secondly, it's the student population, young children, because they are using plastic water bottles, they are going into their playgrounds, the sun is beating down on the water bottle, the temperature is going up, the plastic is disintegrating, the chemicals are leaching into that water throughout the day. You've got plastic tiffin boxes. Now, imagine if a full-grown adult cannot process plastics easily, and if you have the same amount of water, the same food being given to a child, that means the amount of plastic per kilo of body weight is higher for the child. The amount of chemicals being leached per kilo of body weight is higher for the child. So you're really harming their developing organs, their liver, their kidneys. And let's not forget, the fact that we are finding plastics in the brain means it is crossing the blood-brain barrier. And for a brain that is not fully matured.
Kumar, can you put a number on that and tell us, let's say, for everyone who's once a week or twice a week ordering food online, which also comes a lot of times in plastic containers, and people end up doing this grave mistake, committing this huge mistake of warming that by just saying that, oh, it's just 30 seconds, what harm could it do? So, for instance, one time ordering outside, one time carrying your water in a plastic bottle
Sure.
while you're working out, how much plastic is our body absorbing if we just go with the bare minimum standard? And this is just so people know
Sure.
what's happening to their body at the end of the week.
Yeah. So there are varied research papers here, but on an average, I would say if you've stored, let's say, a 1 liter bottle, and that is plastic, per liter, you can expect to consume 250,000 nanoplastic pieces. So if you've consumed 2 liters of water, 500,000 nanoplastics in your gut today itself, right? And you multiply that. It can become worse if you are heating food or adding hot water or using the same bottle over and over again. So which means the wear and tear and the damage, which is not visible to the naked eye, is actually leaching more chemicals and plastics. The weekly ingestion, the global estimate is that you are ingesting about 5 grams per week of plastic. That is the weight of a credit card. So you're ingesting on an average a credit card every week, right? You very rightly put it that if we just start doing 2 or 3 things. 1, avoid plastic tiffin boxes, whether in school, whether in office. 2, don't heat, food which you've received via a delivery, from a restaurant, anywhere. Don't heat it in that same plastic container. Quickly remove it from it and use your metal containers. Even though there are microwave safe plastics, it doesn't mean they are not leaching the chemicals or the microplastics into the food. The third part, and again for school children, the long-term impact is way more grave because the exposure is so early in their life. So the impact on metabolism, on cardiovascular risk, and more importantly, cognitive function. I love what you said at the beginning of the interview, that we can either wait for 20 or 30 years, and when the research is finally out, we can say, oh my God, we've, really subjected ourselves to this horrible mess.
Yeah.
Or we can open our eyes right now and say, this is not something biological. It's not natural. It doesn't need to be in my body. And we don't need to wait for absolutely 100% conclusive research to find out that this is harmful.
Especially when research is pointing to the kind of plastic that has been found out in several organs in different body parts of yours. So why wait? That should be thought-provoking in itself. Thank you so much, Kumar. That's all the time we have this morning. Thank you for joining us and really bringing to the fore this very important story, very important conversation, something that parents must keep in mind without thinking they're putting additional burden on their children by replacing their plastic water bottles with a steel or a copper bottle. Well, with that, we head into a very quick break. On the other side, we shift our focus entirely to festivities, but also to the confusion that's come with it this Diwali. 2 dates, 1 festival. There's an endless debate ongoing. We'll answer all your queries in just a bit.
This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
Major development, the Supreme Court has ordered a CBI probe into the tragic Karur stampede that claimed 41 lives during the rally organized by TVK led by the actor turned politician Vijay. The top court, while transferring the case, made a striking observation, saying prima facie it appears the stampede was caused by police inaction. However, the Tamil Nadu government has denied these allegations, maintaining that the situation was handled appropriately. The court has also set up a 3-member supervisory panel headed by retired Justice Ajay Rastogi to monitor the investigation. Meanwhile, TVK chief Vijay has posted a cryptic message on social media stating that justice will prevail. The post has stirred speculation about his next political move as the probe gains momentum.
We need a justice for our own losses. wound our people and family. We filed petition Supreme Court. Our simple prayer, we need a justice to appointing former Supreme Court judge and form the 3 members committee. The MK government controlled all the media, particularly the Pudiya Talamari channel also blacked out. Definitely the truth will come out. My leader ready to adopt all 41 people.
This clearly exposes the flaws and the incompetence of this DMK government, which led to the loss of 41 precious lives. And we hope that finally those families of those victims will be delivered justice. It is this DMK government which repeatedly erred in the way they had handled this entire episode and issue. It was very clear and evident that DMK is trying to hide something big, and they are so scared. And the way they handled this issue was evident to every common man in Tamil Nadu. Now with the Supreme Court directing the CBI to take this case is a clear indication that the truth will finally emerge and what led to the loss of this 41 precious lives.
More than one state is involved. For a single state involvement, only the state police will investigate. I don't know why the CBI is being called to investigate this case, but it is the court order. We cannot say anything on that. It is the court has decided. So why Vijay came to that place at 7:30 the night when he was slated to speak there at 12 o'clock. And the people were waiting from 10 o'clock in the morning till 7:30 under scorching sun and without water and food. He must answer. He must answer to the court. We will definitely raise that question in the court even before CBI. And Vijay purposefully came late by 7.5 hours after speaking in Namakkal at around 11:45 or 12. He should have come there by 1 o'clock address. The gathering would have dispersed without any problem.
It is definitely a slap on this DMK's government's face. And at least now the DMK and this government should understand that it is the responsibility of the government which should have given protection to the people who had gathered, because the permission was sought by the public, for the public, the protection of security of the public, and they tried to somehow shift the blame on others. So the CBI probe will definitely bring a lot of light into this incident. The DMK thinking that it is wiser than the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court has answered very clearly. I think the DMK government should introspect that they have played with the lives of 41 people and 41 families.
We had filed a petition on behalf of TVK through Mr. Radhav Arjuna, who is the General Secretary. We had a simple prayer where we requested the Honorable Supreme Court that a court-monitored investigation be conducted in the tragic incident. The Honorable Supreme Court has today, we are extremely grateful for the order that has been passed by the Honorable Supreme Court, whereby the Honorable Supreme Court has appointed a committee of 3 members headed by former Supreme Court Judge Justice Rastogi, and CBI is to conduct the investigation under this committee.
My first priority is justice has to be served. Supreme Court judgment still allow the one-member commission from the Tamil Nadu government to do their job. Second thing, they have ordered the CBI inquiry. Third thing, actually, they have appointed a former Supreme Court justice. CBI inquiry is always political inquiry, whether it is a ED or the CBI or the income tax. They always serve the purpose of the BJP's politics for the last 11 years. That is their track record. So nobody will think CBI inquiry will, especially in Tamil Nadu, will be fair and justified.
Now coming in from Bengal, the Durgapur gang rape horror has triggered a massive political storm in the West Bengal. after Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee's remarks on hostel girls venturing out at night sparked outrage. Another senior TMC leader has added fuel to the fire with similar comments, drawing sharp criticism from across the spectrum. Yesterday, West Bengal Governor C.V. Ananda Bose met the survivor, while the National Commission for Women chief is set to hand over a detailed report to both the governor and the chief minister. Adding to the developments, BJP MP Pratap Sarangi from Balasore will visit the private medical college where the survivor is currently undergoing treatment.
Let me first go and assess the situation in the field. Then I will make my comments. CM has made her observations. Let me go and see for myself what happened there. Then I will give my observations. Such instances are on the increase in West Bengal. This shows a degeneration in society. Government has to act firm. We will certainly take stern steps to ward off such things in future.
मेरे को और जो ममता दीदी है वो भी तो किसी का माँ होगा ना, अगर माँ होगा तो उसका लड़के का दर्द भी समझ सकते हैं ना। मैं चाहता हूँ बंगाल सरकार के
Welcome back. India's favorite festival is here. Well, almost, except this time the country can't seem to agree on when is Diwali going to be celebrated actually. Is it going to be the 20th October or the 21st? Both dates claim Deepavali and both have their own logic. The confusion is the lunar calendar. Deepavali always falls on Amavasya, the new moon night of the Kartika month. But this year, the Amavasya begins on the afternoon of the 20th October and ends the next evening. That overlap has split astrologers, temples and even state calendars. One side argues that Lakshmi Puja Muhurat should happen anywhere between 7 to 8 p.m. on 20th. That makes the true night of Deepavali. The other side says since Amavasya continues till 21st evening, the celebration should shift by a day. Temples in Varanasi, Kashi, Vidvat, Parishad are leaning towards the 20th, while many southern and eastern panchangs continue to mark it on the 21st. So which night do the stars actually favor, and does it really matter if both fall under Amavasya? To break down that story and really give us some clarity this Deepavali, let's go across to a very special voice who's joining us this morning, astrologer Kartik Gaur. Good morning, Kartik. Thank you for sparing the time. Let's please have that answer this morning to when should we celebrate the Deepavali, 20th, 21st, because Amavasya Tithi spans 2 days. So how do we go about this confusion?
So good morning and namaste to everybody. As you rightly put out, you have given a very, very nice logic to the understanding. See, there are certain festivals for which the sunrise tithi matters a lot. For some festivals, the sunset tithis are very important. For example, let us say today we are talking on an Ashtami day, and let's say today if it was the Krishna Janma Tithi, then I would be doing Krishna Janma one night before, because for that the Ashtami night is very important for the Janma of Lord Krishna. Similarly, for Diwali, it is very important that the night has to be that of Amavasya, because that was the night when Sri Ram was coming towards Ayodhya and the whole city was lit. So I'm more inclined towards October 20 because, as you rightly said, that the Amavasya Tithi is split between 20th and 21st. But there is only one date on which it is going through the night, and that is the night of 20th. So I'm more inclined towards October 20th. Okay, so that's your answer this morning. You have you've highlighted 20th as your Deepavali day. It would be correct to also go for 21st. There's nothing wrong in that, is what you're telling us. That's entirely up to people and what their belief tells them. But Kartik, tell us a little bit now about the Lakshmi Puja, because with the date confusion also comes the confusion, Sahi Muhurat kaun sa hai? So when should we typically on 20th, 21st, both dates, when should we perform Lakshmi Puja? So Lakshmi Puja, typically if you see the Dhanteras part of it, that is on the 18th of October. So there is no confusion as far as that is concerned. But as far as Lakshmi Puja is concerned, see, we are all should be inclined to do the evening puja, which is after the sunset. Why? Because this is a puja which is associated with the night strong planets basically. So anything which is done after sunset and before sunrise are the muhurtas which you should be choosing, and that is precisely the logic to my argument for the October 20th one, because that is the only night where the night is having the Amavasya effect, which is basically the effect of Ma Kali, and that is where the deepest darkness comes, and from there is where the Mahalakshmi Pujan is very, very favorable.
Okay, lovely. Karthik, now to touch upon the broader understanding of Deepavali, like you said, it's about Lord Ram returning to Ayodhya, it's about triumph of good over evil. That's something that's been taught to us since, we were all very young. But what does astrology tell us for Deepavali 2025? What is the significance attached to the festival this year?
See, the significance associated is always about starting off the new beginning, because this is a rare tithi where both Ma Kali and Ma Saraswati and Lakshmi are extremely strong. Hence, we look at Deepavali as a very, very important day for the starting of new things, or for that matter, closing the account, so to say, as per the Hindu New Year. And there are a lot of those facts associated with it. And in a way, starting any new things which is going to be auspicious, be it in fact buying properties, buying good things, or for that matter, even starting a new education. Those things are extremely good, because that is where there is a combination of both Lakshmi and Saraswati and Ma Kali which is conjoining. So this specific day is extremely good for a new start, and things which are done with very clean heart and with a very, very nice objective, or an objective which has got a lot of humanity also associated with it. So there can always be some purposes where it's not just about you, it's not just about me, so to say. Right? There are many objectives or many things we can do in life, or at least some things we should always do in life, which has got the society in general. So these are the objectives which you can take it up during these days, and that will ensure that, because the Muhurta by default is so well supported, that it will ensure that it is going to live even beyond during your lifetime, and it is going to go from generations to generations.
Okay, so you've told us what we must do, when we must offer prayers this Deepavali. Tell us about what not to do. Are there any specific timings where one must not light the diya, which is never heard of before, but are there any such do nots, or when you should typically avoid performing the puja?
Ideally speaking, see, most of I suppose your viewers would be able to understand their own horoscope. So typically let's say somebody is an Aries ascendant person, so they should avoid the Muhurta which is 12th from their Janma Lagna. They should always actually look forward for the Muhurta which is 7th from their Janma Lagna, which is the house of prosperity. So if somebody is a Mesha Lagna or an Aries ascendant, then Tula Lagna or the Libra ascendant for puja is something which is very fantastic, because that is where it is the house of love and war. So typically you are going to avoid war, and at the same time you are going to ensure that there is stability and financial stability throughout the year.
Okay, lovely. Karthik, speaking of diyas, let's get into Vastu a little bit. For everybody watching this, they're going to be looking at a few tips typically. So where should we place the first diya, light the first diya in the house, which corner, in order to ensure maximum luck comes our way? Would you have any tips there, any suggestions?
Yeah, it has to be from the eastern direction, that's for sure. And basically you can end it in the northern direction. So that is how the best process could be. But the first diya has to be on the eastern direction, which is basically the sign where Surya is going to rise. And that is basically giving the respect to Agni.
And one tip, if I may ask, that you would want to share with our audience this morning on what they must do, what they must follow this Deepavali in order to ensure maximum luck and prosperity comes their way.
See, one tip I would give them is, please use sugarcane in your puja. The full sugarcane. And the logic to it is, a lot of people feel that actually it is for Jupiter. The fact of the matter is that sugarcane is used for Mercury, which is associated with finances, also associated with currency. A lot of your viewers might be into crypto, share market, so on and so forth, which are all associated somewhere with the Mercury and banking and all those things. So using sugarcane as part of your puja kit is something which is a very, very good honors, and that should be offered to Mahalakshmi in your Lakshmi Pujan as well as Diwali Pujan.
Okay, so that's one thing that everyone can go for, because the internet is buzzing with what different numbers should opt for in terms of offerings to Ma Lakshmi? So for one number, it's going to be a certain something. For number two, it's going to be certain something. Would you want to get into details? Share a little bit of that with our viewers.
No, this is one size fits all, which will always work. But the best Muhurat, as I give you, apart from this, would be if you can choose the Lagna rising of the 7th from your Janma Lagna. That would be something which would be very, very good for you.
Okay, Karthik, thank you so much for really clearing the confusion this morning, for joining us for this wonderful conversation. Festivities have already begun, so happy Diwali to you and your entire family too.
Same to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, speaking of Deepavali festivities, it's all in full swing across the country, from festive shopping to soaring auto sales. The mood is upbeat. Yasha Kotak, my colleague from Mumbai, brings us this report on the season's economic boost and all that she's noticed in Mumbai, the financial capital of the country. Take a look.
In Mumbai, Diwali is not just a festival, it's a full-blown experience. When the city lights up, the houses, streets and high-rises, they sparkle with diyas, lanterns, fairy lights and also candles. When it comes to the iconic marine drives, it is shimmering with the fireworks. On the other hand, streets such as Dadar and Crawford are bustling with last-minute shopping. Welcome to Diwali in Mumbai, which is loud, heartfelt and unforgettable.
Diwali is India's biggest festival culturally, spiritually and also economically. A festival which acts as a force multiplier for the GDP, and this festive season, even the average Indian household is ready to splurge a little extra. The mega GST reforms brought much cheer for all sectors of society, giving people the opportunity to spend more this festive season, making both the vendors and customers jubilant.
People who are going to celebrate whether the GST is high or not.
हर बार इधर ही आता हूँ मैं, क्योंकि इधर वैरायटी बहुत सारी है जो कि अपने को देखने नहीं मिलती है.
We have come for shopping of Diwali. The entire family is here, my son, daughter-in-law, because they are also very excited. But I see more of Indian candles this time, about which I am really happy.
ज़्यादा तो आकाश कंदील का ही डिमांड रहता है, जो कागज का रहता है उसका.
इस बार लोगों के पास ज़्यादा लोग परचेज कर रहे हैं, कैसे थोड़ा बताइए क्या सीन है?
हाँ, हर बार तो थोड़ा बढ़ता ही है, मतलब ऐसा सेल.
तो पिछले साल के मुताबिक अगर देखें तो इस साल का कैसे है?
पिछले साल से अच्छा है ज़्यादा.
One of the biggest gainers this Diwali has been the auto sector. With significant GST cuts on vehicle purchase, the government gave a big Diwali gift to citizens, and it is no surprise that sales have hit top gear. The sector has witnessed a whopping 36% growth this festive season.
Recent changes of also the RBI repo rates dropping made the loans more affordable, and more people were able to buy their vehicle of their choice. But the biggest fillip, of course, has come after the announcement on 15th August of the GST drop, which has actually become a great bonanza for the industry.
It is not just the auto sector which is witnessing huge uptick. Mumbaikars are out on the streets buying all things associated with Diwali shopping, from gold to sweets and crackers to new clothes, ready to celebrate a delightful Diwali.
In Mumbai, Diwali is not just about those flickering diyas or the loud firecrackers, but also sharing that moment and smile with an absolute stranger on the streets while shopping. Be it collecting sweets from a long queue at a sweet shop, or for that matter, sharing that moment of making a huge rangoli in your society. The fast-paced city, which is always bustling, always honking, comes to a standstill and enjoys that moment with family on the day of Diwali.
Okay, now we move on to a very intimate conversation with the soulful singer Varsha Dhanua. From her early days in the music industry to her latest releases, Varsha opens up about her musical journey, inspirations and life experiences, mostly the ones that fuel her creativity. Listen in.
Considering हम festive season में आपसे बात कर रहे हैं और शुरुआत musical होनी चाहिए, so I want you to dole out one of your favorite all-time favorite numbers जो आपके दिल के करीब है गाना, और उसके बाद हम ये कॉन्वर्सेशन शुरू करेंगे।
बिल्कुल। तो एक गाना भी हाल ही में रिलीज होने वाला है, अम्मा मेरे। सो उसकी कुछ एक लाइन मैं सुनाती हूँ। अमीर खुसरो जी ने बड़ा प्यारा एक गीत लिखा है। अम्मा मेरे बाबा को भेजो रे, अम्मा मेरे बाबा को भेजो रे, के सावन आया, सावन आया, अम्मा मेरे बाबा को भेजो रे।
वाह, बहुत इमोशनल करने वाला गाना है। और मुझे जहाँ तक याद है, जहाने खुसरो में शायद आपने ये गीत गाया था और कोई एक ऐसी आंख नहीं थी जो नम ना हुई हो, इंक्लूडिंग मुजफ्फर अली साहब। आई सॉ दैट विजुअल ऑल्सो। ये इम्पैक्ट है इस गाने का।
यस, और ये बहुत ही खूबसूरत, इसमें एक भाव ऐसा है जो हर फीमेल तो रिलेट करती ही है। आज की जो यंग जनरेशन है वो भले ही लड़के के घर में आके रहने लगे, लेकिन ये गाना उससे भी रिलेट करेगा। ऐसा गाना दिल को छू जाता है, क्योंकि सिबलिंग्स हैं आपके, मॉम डैड हैं आपके, बाकी के जो रिश्तेदार हैं, उन सब की याद करके आप ये गाना गाते हो कि आ जाओ मिल लो आके।
हम मुजफ्फर अली की बात कर रहे थे, उन्होंने कहा एंड ऑन रिकॉर्ड जाके कहा कि इस देश की बहुत ही अहम आवाज़ साबित होंगी आप। कैसे लेती है इस कॉम्प्लीमेंट को?
इस कॉम्प्लीमेंट को मैं सोचती हूँ कि जितनी मैंने थोड़ी बहुत इबादत जो की है संगीत की, दिल से गाती हूँ, महसूस करती हूँ, तो शायद थोड़ा बहुत कर पाई हूँ। जो इतने गुणी लोग आपको इतने बड़े बड़े शब्दों से नवाज देते हैं, तो इसको मैं ऐसे नहीं ले रही हूँ कि मेरा लक होगा तभी मैं कुछ कर पाऊंगी। मैं ऐसे ले रही हूँ कि उन्होंने कहा है तो अब मैं करके ही दिखाऊंगी। तो मुझे अपने आप पे इतना यकीन हो गया है कि ना पीछे नहीं देखना, भले ही उम्र बढ़ रही है लेकिन पीछे मुड़ के नहीं देखना है। तो इसको मैं बहुत स्ट्रेंथ मुझे मिली है और स्ट्रेंथ की तरह लेकर चलूंगी मैं इन लाइंस को।
आपने इतने सारे बड़े कलाकारों के नाम लिया, नुसरत साहब की बात की, आबिदा परवीन की बात करूंगी मैंने देखा कि उनके साथ बैठ के आप सुर से सुर मिला रही थी। वो एक्सपीरियंस कैसा था?
आबिदा जी को सुनकर उनसे मिलने की चाह होती है, जो भी इस जॉनर के आर्टिस्ट होंगे। तो मुझे अब खुद पे यकीन नहीं हो रहा था कि मैं उनसे पर्सनली मिली हूँ जाके, और उन्होंने जिस गर्मजोशी से मेरा स्वागत किया, मैं उनसे उम्र में बहुत छोटी, वो मेरे लिए एक प्रेरणा की तरह बन गया कि हम अपने छोटों का भी इस्तकबाल अच्छे से कर सकते हैं, उनका भी हम अच्छे से रिस्पेक्ट कर सकते हैं। आबिदा जी के साथ जब मैंने गाया तो मुझे समझ में आया कि आप और आपकी इबादत ही आपके मुंह से जब निकल के बाहर जाती है तभी लोगों को पसंद आती है। तो इसलिए आप अंदर ही अंदर जितनी इबादत कर सकते संगीत की कीजिए। ये सीखा और यही सीख कर आई हूँ मैं उनसे।
उनकी बात जब आती है तो कौन सा गीत आपकी जुबान पे आता है, वो गा के बताइए हमें।
उनका सबसे पॉपुलर तो दमादम है, लेकिन उनका एक बड़ा प्यारा सा कलाम है, ढूंढोगे अगर तुम मुल्कों मुल्कों, मिलने के नहीं नायाब हैं हम। तो वो उनके ऊपर तो जाता ही जाता है। अब उन लाइंस को मैं भी रिलेट कर पाती हूँ कि ढूंढोगे अगर तुम मुल्कों मुल्कों, मिलने के नहीं नायाब हैं हम। तो जब मुजफ्फर साहब ने ये बोला कि ये हिंदुस्तान की एक अहम आवाज़ बनेंगी, वहाँ से मुझे लगता है कि मैं कहीं ना कहीं थोड़ी सी डिफरेंट हूँ और इसको मैं आगे अच्छे से बढ़ा सकती हूँ। तो आबिदा जी का ये जो गाना है, इसको मैं सुनाती हूँ। ढूंढोगे अगर मुल्कों मुल्कों, मिलने के नहीं नायाब, तारीफ है इसकी हसरतो गम है हम नफसो ख्वाब है हम ढूंढोगे अगर मुल्कों मुल्कों
Hello. This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
A major development, the Supreme Court has ordered a CBI probe into the tragic Karur stampede that claimed 41 lives during the rally organized by TVK led by the actor turned politician Vijay. The top court, while transferring the case, made a striking observation, saying prima facie it appears the stampede was caused by police inaction. However, the Tamil Nadu government has denied these allegations, maintaining that the situation was handled appropriately. The court has also set up a 3-member supervisory panel headed by retired Justice Ajay Rastogi to monitor the investigation. Meanwhile, TVK chief Vijay has posted a cryptic message on social media stating that justice will prevail. The post has stirred speculation about his next political move as the probe gains momentum.
We need a justice for our own losses, for our people and family. We filed petition, Supreme Court. Our simple prayer, we need a justice to appointing former Supreme Court judge and form the 3 members committee. The MK government controlled all the media, particularly the Pudiya Talamari channel also blacked out. Definitely the truth will come out. My leader ready to adopt all 41 people.
This clearly exposes the flaws and the incompetence of this DMK government, which led to the loss of 41 precious lives. And we hope that finally those families of those victims will be delivered justice. It is this DMK government which repeatedly erred in the way they had handled this entire episode and issue. It was very clear and evident that DMK is trying to hide something big, and they are so scared. And the way they handled this issue was evident to every common man in Tamil Nadu. Now with the Supreme Court directing the CBI to take this case is a clear indication that the truth will finally emerge and what led to the loss of this 41 precious lives.
More than one state is involved. For a single state involvement, only the state police will investigate. I don't know why the CBI is being called to investigate this case, but it is the court order. We cannot say anything on that. It is the court has decided. So why Vijay came to that place at 7:30 the night when he was slated to speak there at 12 o'clock, and the people were waiting from 10 o'clock in the morning till 7:30 under scorching sun and without water and food. He must answer. He must answer to the court. We will definitely raise that question in the court even before CBI. And Vijay purposefully came late by 7.5 hours after speaking in Namakkal at around 11:45 or 12. He should have come there by 1 o'clock address. The gathering would have dispersed without any problem.
It is definitely a slap on this DMK's government's face. And at least now the DMK and this government should understand that it is the responsibility of the government which should have given protection to the people who had gathered, because the permission was sought by the public, for the public, the protection of security of the public, and they tried to somehow shift the blame on others. So the CBI probe will definitely
Welcome back. Now we bring to you a special section on financial markets powered by Money Control Pro, Money Control's premium destination for investing in business insights. We first up start with markets. GIFT Nifty is indicating a subdued opening for Indian stock markets. US stock markets closed higher last evening on buying in shares of semiconductor chip companies. Silver prices rise to all-time high on concerns about supplies in the market, and gold prices hold firm amid demand for safe haven assets. Speaking of sectors in particular, regional diagnostics players are catching the attention of investors. Despite competition from national players, they are cementing their position in their local markets. Players with higher share of radiology business are clearly in vantage position, and many of them are spreading to other markets and services to diversify revenue sources. So log into Money Control Pro to find out more about the medical diagnostic sector, other actionable insights on markets. It's your premium destination for all investing views and financial insights you will ever need, brought to you by Money Control. Well, that's all we could pack for you in this edition of the Breakfast Club. Thanks for being by our side. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you same time, same place tomorrow, 8 a.m. Bye-bye.
This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
Major development, the Supreme Court has ordered a CBI probe into the tragic Karur stampede that claimed 41 lives during the rally organized by TVK led by the actor turned politician Vijay. The top court, while transferring the case, made a striking observation, saying prima facie it appears the stampede was caused by police inaction. However, the Tamil Nadu government has denied these allegations, maintaining that the situation was handled appropriately. The court has also set up a 3-member supervisory panel headed by retired Justice Ajay Rastogi to monitor the investigation. Meanwhile, TVK chief Vijay has posted a cryptic message on social media stating that justice will prevail. The post has stirred speculation about his next political move as the probe gains momentum.
We need a justice for our own losses, for our people and family. We filed petition, Supreme Court. Our simple prayer, we need a justice to appointing former Supreme Court judge and form the 3 members committee. The MK government controlled all the media, particularly the Pudiya Talamari channel also blacked out. Definitely the truth will come out. My leader ready to adopt all 41 people.
This clearly exposes the flaws and the incompetence of this DMK government, which led to the loss of 41 precious lives. And we hope that finally those families of those victims will be delivered justice. It is this DMK government which repeatedly erred in the way they had handled this entire episode and issue. It was very clear and evident that DMK is trying to hide something big, and they are so scared, and the way they handled this issue was evident to every common man in Tamil Nadu. Now with the Supreme Court directing the CBI to take this case is a clear indication that the truth will finally emerge and what led to the loss of this 41 precious lives.
More than one state is involved. For a single state involvement, only the state police will investigate. I don't know why the CBI is being called to investigate this case, but it is a court order. We cannot say anything on that. It is the court has decided. So why Vijay came to that place at 7:30 the night when he was slated to speak there at 12 o'clock, and the people were waiting from 10 o'clock in the morning till 7:30 under scorching sun and without water and food. He must answer. He must answer to the court. We will definitely raise that question in the court even before CBI. And Vijay purposefully came late by 7.5 hours after speaking in Namakkal at around 11:45 or 12. He should have come there by 1 o'clock, address. The gathering would have dispersed without any problem.
It is definitely a slap on the this DMK's government's face. And at least now the DMK and this government should understand that it is the responsibility of the government which should have given protection to the people who had gathered, because the permission was sought by the public, for the public, the protection of security of the public, and they tried to somehow shift the blame on others. So the CBI probe will definitely bring a lot of light into the this incident. The DMK thinking that it is wiser than the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court has answered very clearly. I think the DMK government should introspect that they have played with the lives of 41 people and 41 families.
We had filed a petition.
Hello and welcome. Very good morning. You're watching CNN News 18 with me, Arun Dhanta. Let's start this bulletin with the top headlines that we're tracking at this hour. The Grand Alliance seat-sharing talks in Bihar hit deadlock as Tejaswi Yadav returns from Delhi. NDA finalizes deal. Nominations close in 3 days for Phase 1. India joins Gaza Peace Summit in Israel. MOS MEA Kirtiwardhan Singh represents India. PM Modi hails hostage release. Trump pushes new peace plan. Supreme Court hands Karur stampede probe to CBI. Says prima facie police in action. Tamil Nadu government denies charge. TVK chief hints at deeper truth. Bengal gang rape case fuels political storm. TMC leader triggers outrage over night-time comment. NCW meets survivor to brief CM and governor. BRS accuses Congress of voter fraud in Jubilee Hill by-poll. 107 voters registered at one address. Poll panel urged to act. Haryana DGP Shatrujit Kapoor sent on leave after senior IPS officer's suicide note names him for alleged harassment. Rahul Gandhi and Chirag Paswan to visit IPS officer's family today. All right, let's get you the breaking story at the top of this bulletin. The Board of Retirement Fund Body, EPFO, on Monday approved liberalized part withdrawals for its more than 7 crore subscribers, allowing up to 100% EPF withdrawal. To enhance the ease of living of EPF members, the CBT decided to simplify the partial withdrawal provisions of the EPF scheme by merging 13 complex provisions into a single streamlined rule categorized into 3 types, namely essential needs, illness, education, marriage, housing needs, and special circumstances. Now, members will be able to withdraw up to 100% of the eligible balance in the Provident Fund, including employee and employer share. All right, that's a big breaking news that we are tracking at this point. Pallavi Ghosh is joining us on this story. Pallavi, this is a major good news for all those 7 crore or more than 7 crore subscribers. Now, tell us about this latest framework which has been introduced by the Labour Ministry.
Well, I mean, if you just go through the EPFO website, you will see that everyone can withdraw partially or completely. But it was a very convoluted process. First of all, there are many reasons you have to give why you want to go in for a certain amount of withdrawal. I mean, immediate emergency needs are considered to be illness, education for that matter, and even marriages. But apart from that, it's simple things. If I want to renovate my house, if I need extra money to build up a house, to buy a property, plot, so on and so forth. Even if you're losing a job, I remember earlier it was there on the COVID time. These are also sections and subsections under which you can withdraw an advance from your EPF, but you have to also give reasons for it. And that became a time-taking process. It also led to rejection on many counts. And many people who felt that we need this urgent money, we don't want to borrow from the banks. After all, this is our own money going into a provident fund account. Why should we not have access to it and easy access to it? These were the concerns which prevailed upon the ministry, and that is why the Labour Minister has been working round the clock, taking a lot of input.